Good morning, Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Katti Power, if you don't know who I am, and I am today going to be interviewing my friend and colleague, the lovely Jaime Slutzky, who I have right here. I'm going to introduce her in a minute, but I want to let you know what we're talking about today. I've had the pleasure of being part of an event that she hosts every year, and we're going to talk about her business, how she helps music educators deal with the technology side of running an online studio, and how to bring it online if you never have. So we both do a lot of that kind of thing to get separately. And this is an event that we do, that she does every year, that I'm doing for my second time, where there's lots of different people that present on different aspects of having an online studio. So meet Jaime Slutzky. She is the CEO of Tech of Business, which I can't wait to tell you more about, and the founder of the Expand Online Summit for Music Educators. So Jaime, thank you so much for coming to talk to my audience today.
Awesome. Yes, I'm excited to be here, Katti.
Yes, thank you. So tell us, what is the Tech of Business? What is that?
You know, what the tech of business is really all that stuff that nobody wants to think about, the stuff that nobody even worries about when it works. Nobody ever says, oh, that's really cool, they used WordPress, or oh, that's really cool, they're using ConvertKit, or oh, that's really awful, they must be using this. Or nobody talks about your tech
Unless
unless
it's
there's a
not
problem.
working.
Unless there's a
Yes.
problem. And so that's what the tech of business is it's all that stuff that just needs to work. And I love making it do that.
I love that. And we need people like you. Those of us that are creatives and musical, that we don't know this kind of stuff. I definitely have a person that does all of that for me because I don't love it.
And you have to love what you do. And I mean,
Yes.
I got into this because I love computers. My degree's in computer science. I spent, a decade in corporate IT. I've been a
Yeah.
techie to the core, but there's, you have to love who you work with as well, which is how I ended up working with music teachers, which is
That's
probably the
awesome.
question you were going to ask me next.
Yes. So how did you, yes, I was going to ask, how did you end up choosing music teachers? Because I know how I did.
Well, it was doing freelance website work. And actually one of the speakers on the summit that we're going to be talking about was my first music teacher client. And I loved what she provided to her students. I loved how we got all of that working together, how we were a yin to a yang and all of that stuff. And
Love
so,
that.
yeah, I just said, you know what? This feels good. And when something feels good, you do more of it. And it's a good thing that it's legal and it's exciting.
Yeah. It's lovely when all that works out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah. I know for me, it was as well. I mean, I've been a music educator for 22 years, and before that, I was a performer. And when I started, I was working in person, and then I got this idea to create a training program for people to learn my vocal method and be able to offer it to other singers that they wanted to teach. And I figured the best way to get the most reach was to bring it online. And I hired a team to help me figure it all out, because at that point, all I'd ever done is email.
Right.
And this was back in 2009. And I've been online ever since because I much prefer it to being in person. But then in the middle of that, I got involved with the coaching industry, just sort of, I went through a training program for something health related, and got exposed to this other whole world of coaching and the way that they operate their not studios, but their businesses online. And I thought, I bet I could apply all this same stuff to my business. And no one was doing it.
Right.
So it was that's how I got into doing that as well, is showing other music teachers, hey, join the world of the rest of what teachers and coaches are doing in other industries. Let's make sure that online is the fantastic space to be.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I think that
and
it's one of those things that fitness went online
yes,
and then music realized, okay, if fitness can do
yes,
it online, so can we. And I think that
yes.
that's really where I saw the explosion was after some of the obstacles that came about in fitness were addressed because then it made it easy for
Mhm.
music to be taught
Yes.
that way.
Yes, and there are still some things that people have questions about and frustrations with, and that is why we need people like you. So I'm so excited to introduce you to the people that I know because I want them to know that you exist, that it doesn't have to be hard. And I thank you so much for the work that you're doing. So let's talk a little bit about the summit.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. So this is the third year that I'm running the Expand Online Summit, which is I call it an accelerator, a motivator, an inspirator, and a great place to just jump forward. It's
Yeah.
something that I don't know how many of you have attended summits or, seen summits, but the idea is it's a lot of content, a lot of material that's dripped out over several days. So in our case, it's May 9th through 12th. There are at the moment I'm looking at my board over there, 17 sessions that are being dripped out. Might be 16, it might be 18. It depends on, a few little things that I'm still working on behind the scenes. Um,
Yes.
but it's a lot of content being dripped out over these days so that you can pick and choose what your next step is. I don't want someone to come to the summit saying, okay, I am going to attend this and 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 go through all the sessions and just be overwhelmed and say, I'm not doing anything. I want you
Yeah.
to attend the sessions, get inspired by some of them, take action on others of them, and then hopefully when you've taken action and you've like accomplished that thing, whether it's launching a course or working on growing your YouTube channel for a year plus, like seriously, let's make sure that we're spending enough time on these things. You can always come back to something else. And
Yeah.
the summit's really just like it's designed as a catalyst. And of course it's also a great place for me to showcase my friends who are doing amazing things with other, in the industry, whether they're teaching themselves or working with teachers. So it's super, super fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it last year. I loved being part of it. And I was hoping that I was going to get to do it again this year. So it's just such a
Yes.
cool idea. Can you give us an example of because you gave some really great examples of some of the tech stuff you help people with. Can you give us some examples of some of the classes, some of the sessions that are available?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a session on whether to DIY and learn it or to outsource. So that one's a really exciting. It's actually a
Yeah.
three-way conversation with me and two other people. And then I've got a session with someone who said, I want to do this. I am going to figure it out. And so it's a little bit more of a showcase of like
That's
how
cool.
to do it. And then I've got a session, like I mentioned on YouTube. That's actually Lauren who spoke on YouTube last year. I'm really excited that she's back as well. And they've got a session dedicated to using Instagram as a marketing vehicle. Because again, we have to remember why we're doing things as much as
Yes.
what we're doing.
Right, because so
So
often
yeah.
people are like, let's see, everyone's doing this, so I guess I'm going to do it too, without any kind of plan or intention behind it. Like, what do you hope to get out of it?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I would say, even coming to this summit, come with an intention in mind of what it is you want to get out of it, because you're going to walk away with it if you know that going into it, rather than, well,
Yeah.
let's just see.
Yeah, totally. And that's one of the things that I do set you up for as well. I have
Mhm.
two tools that I use, and I'm going to totally like peel back all the layers. The first
Yes.
one is a bingo board. bingo board plus prizes. People always want
Yes.
prizes. And so the bingo board helps you take action and do things, whether it's following me or, or watching certain sessions or showing up to some of the live sessions, which I didn't mention. There are live sessions as well. And then the other thing that I've got is a playbook, which is a fill in the blank workbook. It's got a complete schedule of the sessions. So you know which sessions are on which days, what the runtime is for those sessions. So whether it's a 20-minute session or a 40-minute session, so that you can plan your day around actually getting this stuff into your schedule. So just like you said, I don't want you showing up to the summit for entertainment purposes only. It has to be for a purpose. Like it has to be bigger than that. What is missing in your business? What do you want to do in your business next? What, if you've been teaching private lessons and you want to go into doing something with group programming, I've got a session on that. If you've been freaking out that the sound quality isn't as good as you'd like it to be.
Yes.
We can talk about that. If you are buried in paperwork because you don't have your systems for billing your clients, I've got a session on that. And again, and then there's the whole day on social media, and there's and then there's the showcase day as well. I mean, like, it's what do you need now? It really is.
Yeah. And like you said, it's an inspirator, it's an accelerator, it's a motivator. I think it's totally acceptable to come with I need to be inspired because I'm ready to throw in the towel. Because I know there are people out there that, especially with the pandemic, decided to move things online and felt ill-equipped and they're ready to give it all up.
Yes.
I hate that because as someone who's been online since 2009, this is the way to do it.
Yes, totally. And, I think that actually is a really interesting thing because the first year I ran the summit was May of 2020. So everyone had just come online because they had to. And it was like still a foreign space. And I was trying, and the goal of that summit was really exposure. Like, look at the opportunities.
Yes.
Don't feel like this is a burden. Look at it as an opportunity. Then last year, when I ran the summit, it was really focused on you made it through the first year. Now, what opportunities do you have? And then now this year, it is scaling beyond sessions. Okay, what can we do beyond the private lessons, but beyond the one-on-one? How can we leverage the international ability, the on-demand ability of online so that we aren't sitting in front of the computer 24/7?
Exactly. So that you're not on this by the hour model, which that's what I talked about last year, is moving away from the by the hour model, which is like, our industry is still very much in that mode. And I left that mode, I think 2011 or 12. And I will not go back.
Yeah.
It's just not, you can get so much more done and have happier clients when you're not focused on being, chained to a desk for a certain amount of hours or chained to a piano or whatever,
right?
For a certain amount of hours a day. And then you don't leave any time for the rest of your business.
Right.
And that all has to happen too. And you should get paid for all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You shouldn't get paid only when that student is right in front of you. And,
and not paid when they're not.
I'd much rather get paid when you don't have the student sitting in front of you. I mean, and that's actually one of the first things that I talk about with clients when I start working with them is, okay, how much do you charge your clients? Like, we start that conversation and then we're saying, okay, well, so you're really making this much an hour. And, and then it's deer in the headlights. And I'm like, so now let's flip this around so that you're making the amount that you think you're supposed to be making.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's super cool. And you mentioned a podcast. Can you tell me about that?
Imagine that. It's called the Expand Online Podcast. I am so creative. That's why I work with creatives because I can't come up with this stuff. But yeah, no, so it's the Expand Online podcast, and episode 220 is this week. So it's been around for a
Awesome.
while. And it's a combination of solo episodes and interviews. And it's again, same kind of thing. It's just like micro content stuff. Like last week's episode, I was talking about a software tool that I really admire and like and things like that. This week is kind of leading into the summit a little bit. So,
Yeah.
you'll have to listen to that one. It comes out
Yeah.
again like tomorrow morning. So, and then next week's an interview. And so it's just kind of, and it's with a music teacher who's doing amazing things online.
That's
And
awesome.
so it's designed to just be that reminder, and that, that there is more out there and that you don't have to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And I also created it in a way that it becomes a little bit of a search engine. Like you can search that for a specific topic. Like I've covered some topics a couple of times. And if you want to like dig into email marketing, we've got topics, you've got stuff on that, which is
That's
one of my
great.
favorite things to talk about. If you want to dig into courses, we've got stuff on that. If so I've kind of just been building this repository of material for a long time.
I love that. I love that. It's so needed. I think the other thing that I hear all the time is it's too complicated. So I think the other thing that I love is that the work that you're doing and that a lot of the people involved in this particular event are doing is showing you it's really not that hard. Let's show you how easy it can be, how manageable, how doable it is. And also, if it's not for you, you can hire someone to do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's where that whole done for you, done with
Yes.
you DIY session came from. That was a really big inspiration for that session. And I mean, I do this stuff,
Mhm.
full transparency again, because I have a business. And what is my business? My business is helping creative music teachers do the stuff that they want to do, but don't necessarily know how to do it.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
start an email list? Yeah, let's talk. Let's build a strategy. Let's not just throw up a freebie and then like hope and pray. Let's build a
Right.
strategy around it.
Yes, I think that's awesome. What kinds of, I'd love to know, let's see, how do I ask this question? What kinds of, I guess, stories or beliefs do people come to you with that you've shifted around?
Oh, the stories and beliefs. It's always the nobody's going to understand. Especially when nobody's going to understand my way. How am I going to get that across when I'm not able to touch them and move them? Like, so,
Yes,
I mean, I think that the pandemic's actually helped us with that a
I
lot because,
agree.
we have far fewer people being able to be in proximity with each other. But even just like, I'm not a writer. How am I going to write a sales page? I'm not a techie. How am I going to know how to connect everything? Well, you gave me evidence of this just this morning. You said that all your tech stuff wasn't set up before you got here, and you're running your Zoom through to Facebook right now, which means you figured it out. You have the
Absolutely.
steps, you follow them through, and you do it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day. It's a matter of embracing the learning so that it becomes natural. And
Yes,
it's all figure outable. It's all doable.
absolutely. Totally, it is. Yeah, I think that whole figure outable thing, there's a mindset around it too. Because if you
Yes.
go into it with this, well, it's too complicated, it's not for me, it's not going to work, it's not going to sound right, I'm not going to be able to do it, blah, blah, blah. If you go into it with all of that, that's how you're going to walk out of it.
Yeah.
But if you're
Yeah.
able to just be curious, if you're able to see, let's just see
Yeah.
there are people doing this and doing it well. What if I could be one of them? Like, what
Yeah.
if you just shift that mindset around a little bit and see technology is not, there are all kinds of things that use technology in my life. Why can't this be one of them?
You've been watching Netflix. You've been able to figure out going
Yes.
horizontal and vertical scrolling,
Right.
which, I mean, like we never used to need to scroll horizontal and vertical.
No.
Not until Netflix. I swear, not until Netflix and cell phones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like we are surrounded by the technology. We are
Yes.
surrounded by this. Our students expect it, or your students expect it
Yes.
at this point, that if you don't have some level of interaction with them, then you're not going to be staying present and
Current.
staying current. Exactly.
Yes. And
Exactly.
I think that's a really valid point because especially in the music world, which is ever changing, ever evolving. And if the teachers aren't, that's makes it difficult for the student to be like, well, if a student can get whatever they want from someone else, then why would they feel the need to go to someone who seems behind the times? And
Right.
not to put out scare tactics, but I just mean it's definitely a thing. I've overheard conversations about that. Well, this person can work with me from wherever I am. So I'm an actor, I'm on tour, and I need
Right.
to have a coach all the time. And this person is able to handle that. I don't have to be here in
Right.
person with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that there is so much more that we can do when we go beyond sessions. I mean, like that's
Yes.
why I went like with that title, scaling
Yes.
beyond sessions as my subtitle this year, was because even if the only thing you add is a forum to your private practice where
Hmm.
students can post on the forum, other students can reply, and you can reply. If that was all you did, you'd be more current today than 70% of your competitors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just stay ahead of the curve.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. So how can all of these music teachers watching get in touch with you, find out about the summit?
Yeah. So the summit registration starts on Friday. And I
Woohoo!
know, Katie,
Mhm.
you've got some links that you're going to be able to share and all of
Yes.
that.
I
I
put a link actually in the description. This is a link to pre-registration.
My pre-registration page. Awesome. I'm glad you're using that. That was
Yeah.
something I created because I knew that people were going to get buzz about the summit. I wanted to make sure that if you see it right now, you can go ahead and just sign up for that. And then when registration opens on Friday, you'll be able to enroll and you'll get the full stream of emails, including the bingo card and the playbook and all of the live stuff. So you'll find out who all the speakers are other than Katie, and so on and so forth. I am active on Instagram. I'm active here on Facebook. I am always open to DM conversations, so those are
Awesome.
totally good. And even if it sits in my requests, I pretty much look at those on a daily basis. So we don't have to be friends here on Facebook in order for me to actually see your message. Just say I saw your live stream with Katie, and I want to connect, just so I have a little bit of context
Yeah.
before, because that's always
Yes.
nice too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I mean, the summit's the big thing right now. Right on the heels of the summit, I am launching the next round of the online music course accelerator, which is super super exciting. Um, I do that with a partner. She lives over in the UK, and so we have back and forth and really
Love
great stuff.
that. Love
Yeah,
that.
and I would never have met her if it wasn't for online and music and all that stuff. But
Exactly.
that's a story for another time. But yeah, so I've got that coming. I've got a
Awesome.
course on email marketing that's coming. And of course, I also have, work with people in a bespoke way, however it might be. If you're really struggling with the tech, or you know what you want to do, but you can't see the tech, we can just map it out.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that. Will you just quickly talk about the different levels of involvement in the summit?
Yeah. So Summit Access is completely free. You sign up and you get access to all the sessions, May 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. All the sessions are available for 48 hours, except for the live sessions, which I'll get to in a moment. So those ones are all pre recorded. I've I want to make sure that they're not a waste of your time. That is the thing that I find is when people try and do these sessions, these summits live, it ends up being a little bit more of a waste of time. And so I like the pre-recorded so that it's actionable. So you get access to all of those. Most of the speakers have some kind of freebie or gift for you. So you have that. The sponsors have some amazing offers there as well. And then there's live sessions. Those are every day, the Monday through Thursday, the 9th through the 12th at 11 a.m. Pacific, so 2 p.m. Eastern. And those sessions are a speaker Q&A so that you can have your questions answered in real time, and you can connect with other attendees and with the speakers and stuff. And so those are probably lasting about an hour, hour and a half, depending on that. And that's all free. Now, if you are like, okay, Jaime, you said earlier on not to do everything all at once and not to try and bite off too much, what can you do? Well, I'm selling you access as well, which you'll see on the thank you page after you sign up, which will give you access to all of the sessions plus a bunch of bonus content for an entire year. So basically through April 30th of next year, you can go back and watch and rewatch the sessions. So I've got that available. And for purchasers, I'm also giving a bonus if you want an upsell, if you want to check out last year's session. So like if you're like, oh, I wasn't in Katie's circle yet, I want to know what Katie talked about last year. If you buy the all access pass for this year, you'll have the opportunity to also get access to last year's sessions for actually, I feel like it's a pretty good price.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's really awesome too, because I don't know about any of the other speakers, but what I'm talking about this year works just fine as a standalone.
Yes.
However, if you took what I did last year, it's a great little handy partner to it. So I bet there are some others that are like that as well, that having last year and this year is going to be extra beneficial. So
absolutely,
definitely want to grab those all access passes.
Yeah. Yeah. So but my big thing with the summit and with everything that I do online is to inspire, motivate, and like say it's not impossible. If you dream it, we can make it happen. And it's just a matter of laying the right foundation, taking the right steps, being intentional, all of that stuff. That's what I'm all about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Jaime, thank you so very much for sharing this with us. Those of you watching, I would love for you to let me know if you have questions about anything that you heard. Feel free to ask in the comments. Check out the link that I put in the description. I'll also post it in the comments a little bit later. Those of you that are watching from my private voice lesson groups, when she says that registration opens Friday, that's today. So, because I'll be posting this in there on Friday. So,
yeah, I totally get it. Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so very much. And I hope to see you guys at the summit.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.